Good morning students, welcome to Anita's online academy and today I am taking class 10 science life processes. In my previous video we had discussed about the nutrition in plants and now we will take nutrition in animals, but before that I would like to discuss some important phenomena that are shown by some plants, insectivorous plants. Children, as you know that insectivorous means you must have heard herbivorous, carnivorous. Herbivorous are the animals which eat plant and plant products, and carnivorous are the animals which depend on other animals for their food. In the same way, insectivorous plants are the plants that depend on insects, not completely for food, but they depend on insects to fulfill their requirement of nitrogen. So insectivorous plants depend on insects to fulfill their requirement of nitrogen. Children, you must be aware of the fact that these plants cannot take nitrogen directly from the air. So in some plants, in the roots there are rhizobium bacteria. You must have read in your lower classes that these bacteria, rhizobium bacteria, they fix the nitrogen. Fixing the nitrogen means to take the environmental nitrogen and to convert it in the form of some compounds, and these compounds get dissolved in water and then they are taken by the plants. But in case of some plants, yes, they have the process of photosynthesis. They perform the phenomena of photosynthesis, but still the requirement of nitrogen is not fulfilled because the soil in which they grow, there are no such bacteria which can fix the nitrogen. So to fulfill this need, what these plants do, they eat the insects. Now, how do they eat the insect? Now, they don't have any mouth. Actually, they trap insects and digest them. Let us see how. I take one example. Pitcher plant. Pitcher. The leaf of a pitcher plant takes the form of a pitcher. It looks like a pitcher. It is green in color and it looks like, its shape is like a pitcher with a lid also. And children, on the mouth of this pitcher like leaf, there are some nectar glands. Nectar is a sweet and pleasant smelling substance, sticky substance which attracts the insects. So when insects are attracted by the good smell or fragrance of this nectar and they come to suck the nectar from these leaves, then what happens? Suddenly the walls of this pitcher plant from inside, they are very slippery. As a result, when it is sitting on its periphery or its circumference of its mouth, suddenly that insect slips inside the pitcher and at the moment the lid is also covered. So once the insect sits here to suck the nectar, it slips inside, it cannot be freed because the lid is also closed. Now the poor insect which has fallen in, will finally will fall down into the bottom directly because the walls are so slippery that it cannot have a grip on the walls and save itself. So it just falls inside, and inside there is digestive juice. Okay, and because of this digestive juice, it falls into it and this digestive juice completely digests it and from it, because the insects have protein in them, our body is also made up of in our body also there are proteins. The body of living organism is made up of proteins are body building nutrients. You must have read in your small classes in your lower standards. So this falls into it and it is completely digested, and the nitrogen is released and this is absorbed by these plants. A similar kind of plants are Venus flytrap. Venus flytrap, these plants, the leaves on their outside have this type of finger-like projections, just like our palms. Okay, so they have this type of projection, and in between here there is the provision of nectar to attract the insects. So when insects are attracted and they sit here in its uh, middle part to suck the nectar, suddenly what happens, like these are my palms and I join them and here an insect is sitting. As the insect sit, all the projections are uh, closed. These finger-like projections, they are closed like this, and the insect is trapped within. And this insect will be digested, because as it is trapped inside, the digestive juice will be secreted and it will be digested. So this way, some insectivorous plants work. Now children, animals on the basis of the food taken by them, they are divided into three types: herbivores, that is herbivorous animals, and carnivorous animals, and omnivorous animals. Carnivores, omnivores. You must have learned it in your previous classes that herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, when you speak like this, no need to speak animals with them. But if you say carnivorous, omnivorous, herbivorous, then you should add the word animals. So herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, these are the three types of animals on the basis of the food they take. Herbivorous animals, they take plants and plant products as their food. So they depend on plants for their food directly. Carnivorous animals depend on other animals. They eat the flesh of other animals. Flesh of other animals. So they depend on animals. They do not depend directly on plants. They depend indirectly on plants, because they eat the animals, and the animals which eat the plants, they are the food of these animals. Now omnivorous animals are the animals which can eat plant and plant products as well as animal flesh of the other animals. So like crow, deer and human beings, they also fall under this category. Carnivorous animals which are completely carnivorous, which depend on animals only, which do not eat plant or plant products at all. And these herbivorous animals are the animals which eat only plant or plant products, do not eat animals. So these are the three categories of animals. Okay. One more thing you must have remembered, I have discussed in my previous video about holozoic animals. Holozoic animals and also saprophytes we have discussed. So saprophytes are the animals, what they do, they just secrete digestive juice on the food outside their body. They digest it and then they suck that digested food. Whereas holozoic animals are the animals which take their food from outside and then they digest it. So today we are going to talk about the nutrition in animals, and mainly we are talking about the holozoic animals, the animals which take food from outside and then digest it inside their body. Digestion in animals is completed in 5 steps. Number 1, ingestion. Number 1 is ingestion. Number 2, digestion. Digestion. Number 3, absorption. The third step is absorption. Fourth one is assimilation. Step number 4 is assimilation, and step number 5 is egestion. So now let us discuss them one by one. What is ingestion? Ingestion means to take in food. The process of taking in food is called ingestion. The process of taking food in by animals. Okay, the process of taking food in by animals, that is called ingestion. Now what is digestion? Digestion is the process of breaking down the complex food substances into simpler ones. Okay, so breaking down complex food substances whatever you want to note down, you can note down from here. Breaking down complex food substances into simpler ones. You should always note down the important points. So before you start the video, you should have your notebook and pen with you, and wherever you need it necessary, you must write down. By writing you will understand much better. So breaking down complex food substances into simpler ones is called digestion. Now number 3 is absorption. By digestion, the food is converted into absorbable form. That is, now it is in liquid form and it can be absorbed by the walls of intestine or whichever organ is concerned about the absorption in different animals. So absorption means to absorb the food substances into some walls or some tissues or some cells. It depends that which part will absorb. It depends on the complexity of the animals. Okay, in simple animals single cell is there, so absorption will be of that type. Then there are multicellular animals of lower grade, then there are multicellular animals of higher grade. So in all the animals absorption is there. And what is meant by absorption? To absorb the digested food by the walls of intestine. Here we will consider human beings. So, to absorb the digested food by the walls of intestine. And inside the intestine there is dense network of blood capillaries in which blood is filled. So, with blood the digested food will reach to each and every cell. The blood will carry this digested food. The blood will circulate this digested food to each and every cell. So absorption, by absorption the digested food is absorbed by the walls of small intestine. Inside the small intestine there is a dense network of blood capillaries. So this digested food which is in the form of, we can say, glucose. So this digested food in the form of glucose will enter into blood capillaries, and with blood from blood capillaries, with blood it will be circulated in each and every cell of the body. And this process of circulating or distributing the digested food to each and every cell is known as assimilation. So, what is assimilation? Assimilation is the process. Assimilation is the process of circulating. Getting my point? Circulating the digested food to each and every cell. Each and every cell of the organism. जो भी organism है, whichever organism it is, the digested food reaches to each and every cell of that organism. This process is called assimilation. And now the fifth one is, I will write here so that you can see. Now the fifth one is digestion. Digestion is the process of throwing out the waste products. See, the food which we take in, we do not need it completely. Only some important part is absorbed by our body. Rest is the waste. So this waste needs to be thrown out of the body, and it is an important process. If it is not thrown out of the body, then this waste product may turn into some toxic substances which may be harmful for our body. So digestion is the process of throwing out The process of throwing out waste products, process of throwing waste products out of body. This is called digestion. So children, these are the 5 steps of nutrition in animals. First is ingestion. Nutrition in animal can be divided into 5 steps. First is ingestion, the process of taking food in by animals. Digestion, breaking down complex food substances into simpler ones. Absorption, to absorb the digested food by the walls of intestine. And assimilation is the process of circulating the digested food to each and every cell of the organism. And the last one is egestion, the process of throwing waste products out of the body. Now children, we will discuss digestion, the process of digestion in various animals. So first of all, we are taking the simplest animal on the earth, that is amoeba. Digestion in amoeba. Let us get a small introduction of amoeba. Amoeba belongs to phylum Protozoa. You have studied in your class 9th, you have studied the classification. So you are familiar with this term, phylum Protozoa. It is the lowermost phylum of animal kingdom, and it consists of many unicellular organisms. So amoeba belongs to phylum Protozoa, and it is a unicellular animal. Unicellular animal. Now, why it is called unicellular? Why it is called animal? So children, it is called unicellular. Uni means one, and cell is cell. Okay. So it is called unicellular animal because it is composed of single cell only. The whole body is made up of one cell only. That's why it is called unicellular. And why it is animal? Because the single cell that it has does not have cell wall. Had it had cell wall, then we would have called it plant. But we call it animal because it does not have cell wall. Its body is made up of one cell and it lacks the cell wall. That's why it is unicellular animal. Okay, done. Amoeba is a unicellular animal. Now let us see what type of structure does it have in children. Amoeba does not have any specific structure. It is irregular in shape. Okay, its shape is irregular, not any specific kind of shape. It is irregular in shape, and like any other cell, it has all the things into it. There is a nucleus, then there is a mitochondria, okay, and lysosome, ribosome, many things. Whichever cell organelles, this is cytoplasm, okay, all the cell organelles which are present in a cell, they all are present in it. This is nucleus, and this is your amoeba. Now children, maybe it is very small, but still it follows all the 5 steps of nutrition. So we have got introduction about amoeba. Now we are going to see the process of nutrition in amoeba. Nutrition in amoeba. Now it is a very small animal, only made up of only one cell, but still it follows all the 5 steps of nutrition. What are the 5 steps of nutrition? We have just discussed: ingestion, then digestion, then absorption. What is number 4? Assimilation, and children, what is number 5? Egestion. All these 5 steps of nutrition are followed by this small animal called amoeba. Now let us see the process of ingestion in it. Very small organisms like some diatoms, etc., which are found in sea water. It lives in not sea water. It lives in fresh water. Okay. So in fresh water, whichever small organisms it see, then it takes them in as their food. So how does it take in its food? Suppose a small organism like diatom has come here and it feels, it cannot see, does not have eyes, it feels the presence of, it has the stimulus response and all sense it is sensible to the food. You must be surprised that amoeba shows stimulus and shows responses to stimuli. If there is a food, then it will move towards it. If it has if some sunlight is there, and then it will move away from it. So children, if some chemical substance is dropped into the water, the amoeba is present, it will move away from it. So it shows positive and negative responses. Now we come to this, and yes, I said that it moves. That also we should understand that how should it move? It does not have any legs. So children, whenever it has to move in a particular direction, it does not have its front and back, nothing. But whenever it has to move in a particular direction, then in that direction, it makes a big projection out. Okay. In that side, it makes a big projection, and this is called as pseudopodium. And with the help of this pseudopodium, it starts moving in the direction it wants to move. Plural is pseudopodium. Pseudopodium, and plural is pseudopodium. Now, so if it sees that the food is in this side, then it will start moving in this side by making pseudopodium in this side. Then next, so this will become its anterior part, and this will become its posterior part. This will be front, this will be back. Okay, so this will be its anterior part, this will be the posterior part. Suppose now it sees food in this direction, then the pseudopodium will be formed in that direction. Now this will become its anterior part, and that this one will become its posterior part. So in any direction it can give out a projection which is called pseudopodium. Pseudo means false. Pseudo means false, and podium means lag. So though it is acting like a lag, but it is not a lag, so it is called false lag. So with the help of this pseudopodium, it can move. Now we come to our topic of ingestion. So here is the food stuff. Making pseudopodium, it starts moving towards it. And when it moves towards it, what it does, it covers it completely. Okay, it covers the food stuff completely. Now this food stuff is below it, it has covered it. and now it has covered it, and now it will fold itself to make a cup around it. It moves on the food, it covers the food item, see, like this. Here is the food item, it covers the food item. I take a small piece of chalk. It is the food item, it is moving. Here is the pseudopodium, and now it will make a cup-like structure around it. Now, in this cup-like structure, what will happen? It has covered. Now, this side and this side, they will join each other. They will be attached with each other. And inside the cup which is formed will be detached from here. These two sides join each other. Now the complete body of amoeba is again there. The outermost membrane is again there. And inside the cup which was present, that will be separated from this membrane. And this way, this cup will become a rounded structure and will enter inside the amoeba. Now in diagrammatic way, how can we represent it? This is a cup-like structure. Okay. Now it is its food. These two sides will join each other. They will join each other, and this cup-like structure will detach from here. These two will join each other, and this cup-like structure will detach from it. This cup-like structure will detach from here, and it will make a vacuole, a round bag-like structure which is called vacuole. Got it or not? See, here is the food, here is the pseudopodium, and it has covered it and joined. Now this end and this end will join, and the inner one, this one, inside portion will be detached, and now it will be formed as a food vacuole. This will be called now food vacuole, and this food vacuole contains its food. So now ingestion is done. Yes, the food which was outside the body is now inside the body. So ingestion is done. Now we come to next step, that is digestion. How does the digestion of food take place in amoeba? Second step is digestion. Here is the food vacuole, and in amoeba lysosome is also present. So it secretes some digestive juice into the food vacuole. This is lysosome, and it secretes some digestive juices into the food vacuole, by which this food is digested. So digestion is done. That means it is completed into simpler food stuff. Now children, absorption and assimilation. Digestion done. See children, while digestion is taking place, or we can say digestion is taking place, and after that this food vacuole starts moving from one end to another end. So wherever it moves, the various parts of this cell, they get the digested food. It keeps moving. Suppose it starts moving from here. Okay, the anterior part of this amoeba was here. So here is the food vacuole. It is carrying digested food in it. This is digested food. Now it starts moving in various directions. So wherever it moves, the assimilation is also taking place simultaneously. The digested food is absorbed by its various parts. It is moving, it keeps moving, and finally it reaches to the posterior part. Now it has reached to the posterior part, and now what will happen, as it touches the posterior part, the cell membrane, from there the cell membrane will be ruptured, will break down, and as a result whatever is there inside will be thrown out, and this membrane, the membrane of the food vacuole, will now become continuous with the membrane of the body, that is cell membrane, and the waste product is thrown out. So this way the assimilation is also done, and finally the egestion, that is throwing out of waste product, is also done. You can watch this video again and again to understand the process well, and you can pause the video and note down the important points. I suggest you that you must note down the important points so that whatever you learn will remain in your mind. So in next class I will take the nutrition in human beings. Thank you.